Hello, family. How are you? Okay, I have a huge share for you. I have notes. You know I hate notes. But I honestly, what I'm about to share with you, I can't even share it all because my mind can't even keep track of all of the synchronicities that have occurred over the past several days. And another synchronicity was yesterday. I talked about, hi Colleen, I talked about living life from a higher perspective. And that's what this is all about, is for me, for so many years, I have lived my life from a limited perspective on the ground that was solely based on me and what was going on in my world and how it was affecting me. And I've always been a giver, but I have always been very internal and saying, okay, like, what do I need to do? How do I need to stay safe? And 2 years ago, when I started this journey with Abraham Hicks, thank you, Abe, she opened my world up to creating my own reality and my sovereign power and the love that the Creator has for us and the lack of judgment. Like, there is no judgment. The only person judging you is you. So we should stop doing that. And then I found this business, and my business, I'm in the healing business. And I used to think that the work was to heal everybody else. But now I know that the work is to heal us. We are on a healing journey. And if we gift ourselves the time and effort of healing, then we heal the world with us. And so I've been thinking about how involved I have my children in what I'm doing. And that's the biggest thing for me. When I became a single parent and I knew I financially was going to have to do it on my own, I didn't want to do it in a way that I had to give up more time with them in order to make it happen. I wanted to do it in a way that I could bond with them and get them fully enlisted in what I was doing. And I was going to find a way, damn it. But I knew I couldn't find it on my own. And so I went into the silence. And what was delivered to me on a golden platter. And I am now in a place that I never could have imagined before, and I want to share it with you. And this is a deep share. I will probably cry because it's about my Sophia, my wise little angel. And something over the past couple of days has come to a head for me where I have been able to connect so many pieces together over my entire life. And it's a testament to how our children are always guiding us. It's a testament to how we are not here to rule our children. We're here to be guided by them. Like, they chose us. They chose us, and there's a reason that they chose us. And so to honor that and to walk with them, not above them, to walk with them, not in front of them, but next to them. And so I want to start with, in 2005, I was with Sophia's dad. We had started dating, and he was a big reader, and he loved the Da Vinci Code. Well, I was like staunch Catholic at this point, and it was like, no, the Da Vinci Code's terrible. And if you know anything about the Da Vinci Code, it is about the idea that perhaps Jesus and Mary Magdalene were partners, that they were together. And this to me was like, oh my gosh, the sanctity of Jesus. Like, it totally did not resonate with me. I was just not willing to talk about it. But what came of that is one of the main characters in the Da Vinci Code her name is Sophia. And Jim said to me, Sophia's dad, we were just a couple months into dating. Like, I wasn't thinking about having kids or anything like that. And he said to me, someday when we have a child, can we name her Sophia? And I was like, sure, I love that name. Okay. And I thought I was being original. We thought we were being original. But in 2007, when she was born, it was actually the #1 name. And so hold on to that, because that's an important point too. And so Sophia was born in 2007, but back up a little bit. When I went to have my ultrasound to find out if Sophia was a boy or a girl, I got more than I bargained for, because I found out that Sophia had a hole in her diaphragm and she had a 50-50 chance of living, and that she would have to have a very serious surgery very soon after birth, that she would have to come via C-section, and that I would not be able to hold her, that they would have to take her immediately and put her on a ventilator, because she would not have enough lung capacity in order to survive without external help. So that was fucking shocking. And so what ended up happening is they did an amniocentesis, and they wanted to test. I said, well, I agree to testing her genes so that we know if we have anything else to compete with when she comes. And so they did the amniocentesis and looked at her genes and found out that not only did she have that, but she also had what is called Mosaic Turner syndrome. Which Mosaic means that she could express the genes or she may not express the genes. They're present there in her body somewhere, but they could be in some areas and not in other areas. So we would just have to wait and see. So she had an X and nothing. Like girls have XX. Well, on some of her genes, she has the XX. Some of her genes, she has the X nothing. I don't like nothing. Okay, there's a significance there too. I haven't quite figured that one out yet, but there's a significance there. Okay, so then after she was born, she came home. I ended up becoming a nurse because of Sophia, because of the struggles that she went through. Like I wanted to be a nurse. I was a massage therapist. I always wanted to touch people, heal people, take care of them. And her dealing with so much medicine and like dealing with that whole situation, I was like, I'm going to be a nurse. So I became a nurse when I was 33. And Sophia was always really wise. Like she was always speaking wisdom to me, always asking very profound questions to me. And like questions like, I remember when she was 10, she said to me, Mom, like, how do I do what God wants me to do and what I want to do? And I didn't know how to answer that question at the time, because I was, for me, within what I felt inside of that religion that I was within, that there was a separation, that you had to do what God wanted you to do and you had to sacrifice to do it. Well, now I know that that is not my truth anymore, that those two things are fully in alignment, that what your God wants you to do is also what you want to do. You just have to listen and be guided, and it's all tied together, right? Okay, so then in 2019, Sophia said to me, Mom, if you don't leave Dad, I'm going to leave. And so my point there is that it needed to happen. Like it was time for us to go because the situation was no longer safe. And boy, if anybody's going to light a fire under you, your child is going to light a fire under you when they say to you, Mom, get your shit together or I'm going to leave the house. If you don't figure out a way to get us out of this situation and be brave, then I'm just going to go. And so that's when I decided to leave. And this is where the empowerment comes in. This is where the awareness that we are in control of creating our own reality, that we are not victims, that the world is not happening to us, the world is happening for us. And so Sophia was homeschooling at this time. And so she was with me every day, all day, while the other kids were at physical school. And during that time, we were learning. We were listening to Wayne Dyer, Louise Hayes, Abraham Hicks, and all these other amazing speakers who are super empowering and teach you about the power within yourself. And so we're like bopping back and forth off of one another, talking about this stuff. And she's planting seeds in me and I'm planting seeds in her. And then we manifest this new beautiful home that's like right across the street from this perfect park. And it's so different than the world that we knew before because we co-created this reality together. My kids have been divinely guiding me through my life. It's just absolutely amazing. And so then we move to this house and we manifest this like online job that's like a dream that fully supports every single mindset foundation that we have come upon. It's like fully in alignment with it. And so, you know, little pieces were coming together here and there, and I was feeling pretty intuitive. because I was paying attention. But then, like over the past, really since maybe February, it's like boom, boom, boom. Things are coming together. Like my intuition is fully activated, and it's a little overwhelming. I really have had to go outside a lot because to ground it and to just stay in touch with Mother Earth in order to process. Because when you start, when you're on this ascension journey and you really do step into the higher dimension, or we'll call it feel into the higher dimension, you really activate your heart and you activate your third eye. Like it can be really overwhelming because your body is really trying to integrate a lot of different things and a lot of different energies, and you're purging a lot of energies. And so things really started to take off for me when, okay, where's my notes? I mean, seriously, I'm like, I didn't even know how to talk about this. I didn't even know how to wrap my fucking mind around this. Okay, where was I? Okay, so I'm looking at, this is what I want to tell you is, so I've always been really close to Jesus Christ. Always. Like, and I don't even talk in the religious aspect of Jesus. Like, I've always felt Jesus inside of me. Jesus has come to me many, many times when I was younger, throughout all of my life. But Jesus really started coming to me a lot in like February of this year. And what happened is Jesus would come to me in my meditations, and he was healing me. And he said to me, it's time for you to heal. Like, I want to help you heal the divine masculine within you. So, we walk with many wounds. We walk with many wounds that need to be purged. And for me, it was time for me to work on the masculine wound. It was time for me to work on the stories that I had created in my life that were around men, whether it was my dad or another male family member or all of the men that I've dated in my life. And I take full responsibility for all of my situations because I created them, because these were learning experiences for me. And I love all of the experiences, and I love all of the men that have taught me in my life very deeply. And this is living from a higher perspective, right? Okay, so then, in particular, at the beginning of March, Jesus came to me in a meditation, and he scooped me up like a little girl. And he said, Monica, it's time for us to heal your divine masculine. I was like, okay, let's do it. And then so he's been sprinkling me, like literally sprinkling me in my meditations. And then I was called to Mary Magdalene Revealed. I'd seen a lot of people post about it, and I was like, okay, I don't know a lot about Mary Magdalene, but I want to learn about Mary Magdalene. She's calling me. And I got this book, and it broke my heart wide open in a good way, because our mainstream understanding of Mary Magdalene as a prostitute in the traditional Bible is no longer my truth. I now feel like I understand truly who Mary Magdalene is, or I'm starting to understand who she is, and understand her from my heart, not from my mind. Understand her in a very intuitive way, and appreciate her story and appreciate her space in our lives as beautiful, feminine, divine goddesses. So if you haven't checked out that book, check it out. Okay, so there's my first experience with Mary Magdalene. And then I met this man in March who has actually been around for a little while. I just didn't know it. And this relationship that I have now is also a huge part of my healing my relationship with the masculine, because it's a very pure, deep relationship that I really never thought was even possible. I certainly have never experienced it in my life. And it is a relationship that is not based on physical, right? Like when you meet someone, anytime I've met someone in the past, I've always been like, oh, they're hot. Like, they're cute. I want to go on a date with them. And so the first connection is that physical, like, desire for them. And that's not how it started. It started with the heart and the mind. And it started with like conversation and meditation. So this is what I found is, though the physical desire is there, just so you know, I'm gonna make that clear. We talk about what happens, our synchronicities throughout our daily lives. It's our conversation. And so what's happened is I find that we mirror each other in many ways. We have a lot of synchronicities that occur, and we have profound fucking conversations that I've never had with a man in my life. It is so empowering and exciting, and feels so good to feel so connected and it's such a trusting relationship. It's all about feeling and understanding and communicating each other from the higher perspective. And if something happens for me, it's like, I don't take that to him. I go inward first and I figure out my own shit first. And then I take that to him to have a higher level conversation about it. And then so what I'm finding is that as we're talking about the synchronicities, because every day we're communicating about this, that the synchronicities occur more often, right? Because the divine loves acknowledgement. The divine wants to play with us. The divine wants you to say, oh my gosh, thank you for that sign. And so when you surround yourself with people that you can communicate with about these signs, the signs come more often. So that is another piece of the puzzle that has really amplified and sped up my healing process and highly activated my intuition. Okay, so then in May, I think it was early May, or late May, mid-May. I don't know when the fuck it was. It was sometime in May. I did my water fast, and this water fast was huge for me. If you've never done a water fast before, it's only 3 days, y'all. It's only 3 days. You can do it. It was huge. Like, it shifted something in my body. I like to say I emptied myself to become whole again, because, I mean, like, the dreams I had, the visions I had, the meditations I had were so huge. They were so, they were profound. They were absolutely profound. And I felt everything within me was heightened by doing that water fast. So that's just another piece of the puzzle. Then I really am getting to the Sophia code. Then I decided to enroll in this program called Quantum Magic School with Gabby Kowalski, Kowalski. If you don't know her, check her out. She's amazing. And I really haven't even done that yet. It's just all the pre-work, but that has enhanced everything too. Okay, so another piece of the puzzle. And so then now I'm going to get more specific for you, I guess. What happened was last week, like, everything was like boom, okay? Last week, I'm outside and I'm mowing the yard. I love to mow the yard because it grounds me. You're just connecting with the earth. I just freaking love it. And so I'm mowing the yard and I'm listening to a podcast. And this podcast is talking about the concept of a twin flame. If you don't know what a twin flame is, look it up. I had no clue at the time, but now I know what it is on a personal level and through research. But check it out. It's very interesting. Okay, so twin flame. This lady's talking about twin flames. And it's a soul connection, okay? Like, you have soulmates and you have twin flames. A soulmate, really anyone can be a soulmate. It's somebody you have like a soul contract with. A twin flame is somebody that is actually a piece of your soul. So the belief is, and this may resonate or not, it's whatever, take it or leave it, whatever you want to do. When a soul is created, it is split. You have the feminine and the masculine, not male or female, feminine and masculine. And you go your separate ways and you kind of play this game where you get to find each other, because this is fucking eternity, right? Like, we'll get bored if we don't come up with stuff to do because we live forever. Wrap your brain around that, right? Okay, so I'm listening to this podcast. They're talking about twin flames. And so they start talking about Mary Magdalene and Jesus. Okay, and so, like, I've been working with these two in separate areas, knowing, yes, that there's a connection, but still based on mainstream religion, hadn't done the research there. And she's talking about them as two pieces of one divine whole. And my mind is blown. And then she starts talking about ascended masters. My mind was blown. Okay, and so I was like, there's something here, there's something here for me. And so I got back into the Mary Magdalene book, got reactivated there. And so then the number 22 starts hitting me between the eyes, like, all day long. All day long. I saw 22s everywhere. I mean, 22s on license plates, 22s on signs, 22s on the clock. Everywhere I looked, I saw the number 22. The most random places. 22s on Facebook. And I'm like, what the hell does 22 mean? I don't get it. So I'm driving downtown. I take Sophia to her play practice. And I'm coming home and I see another 22. I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm going to look it up. So I look up 22. and I find this beautiful picture of these two twos backwards, and they look like little swans, and it's called the twin flame swan. Yeah, 22 is a master number. So 22 is also representative of twin flame connection. Okay, and so I'm like, okay, now where else is she leading me? So then again, I'm seeing 22s all day. I go back downtown to pick up Sophia, and this is interesting. It was just Sophia and I were driving home, and in downtown Indianapolis, there is a sign. It's a lottery sign, and it shows of the Hoosier Lotto, the Mega Millions, blah, blah, blah. And it shows what the jackpot is. And guess what the fucking jackpot was? 122 million and 22 million. And I'm like, okay, I got the point. And so I take out my phone and I'm like, Sophia, take a picture of that. Like, I'm blown away here, and I'm sharing all of this with her. And she's like, oh my gosh, mom, oh my gosh, mom. So she takes her phone out, takes a picture, and then looks at it as we get past the sign, and she's like, Mom, one of the numbers is missing. And so the 122 was there, but the 22 in the picture had disappeared. And I was like, that was not flashing. So we turned around. We turned around and we went back, and we drove past the sign again, and it gets more interesting. Sophia pulls her camera. I'm like, video it, record it. I did buy a ticket. The drawing is tomorrow night. So she takes the camera, and we're looking through through the phone, and they're flashing. That was not flashing, and we're looking through it, and we look up, and it's not flashing. And you look through the phone, and it's flashing, and you look up, and it's not flashing. So we hit record. And then we look up, not flashing, and then you hit play on the recording, and it's not flashing. That's interesting. Okay, so then Sophia and I go to the park, and we go to take a hike. And I have this video too of what we saw at the park. So we're walking down the path, and we look up and we see a snake. Do you know what time it was? I mean, just take a guess. 5:22. 5:22. And so we watched this snake. I took a video of it go crawling across, and it leaves. And I'm like, what's it? I knew there was a connection with Mary Magdalene. I just didn't know what it was. So then I researched Mary Magdalene and snake. And so apparently in many of the traditional art around Mary Magdalene, she's holding two snakes. Okay? And the symbolism here is no longer fear the snake. Pick it up and wield it as your sword, as your flaming sword. And I'm like, okay. And so my memory goes to, and again, this gets kind of like complicated because there's so many synchronicities. But so then my mind goes to this dream. And I don't know if I did do a Facebook Live on this, which I can't find on my page, which is interesting. I had this dream a while back about me. This is me on my this is the ocean. I'm being raised up out of the ocean. There is a moon here. And I'm on this little like throne. That's me, little Monica, little inner child Monica. And I remembered in that dream, what I was told was Brandy is your bridge. Brandy was a dog that my first dog when I was younger. And she died when I was very young. And I had looked up the name Brandy because I knew there was a meaning there. And what it means is flaming torch. So I'm like, okay, I'm just, making all of these connections, right? Like all of these connections are coming together. And then I listened to another podcast. And this podcast, these two women are talking about the divine union of Jesus and Mary Magdalene and how they were twin flames. And so they're going into detail about this. And I'm like just getting just chills all over my body, just flooded with chills. And they start talking about this book called the Sophia Code. I didn't know what the Sophia Code was. I was like, what is the Sophia Code? And I look up the Sophia Code because I just stopped the podcast because it was just like, okay, I get it. Like I feel that I should look up the Sophia Code. And the Sophia Code, if you buy one book for the rest of your life, that's the book you should buy, is how I feel about it. I am blown away by what I am reading. And so I want to tell you, Sophia's been divinely guiding me to this book all of my life. And so I got this book and I started reading it, and I just was weeping. So divine synchronicity occurred where my kids ended up staying the night at a friend of mine's house. So I was all by myself. And I started reading this book, and like my heart was just cracked wide open. And so what is the Sophia code? Well, again, this may or may not resonate with you. It's very outside of the box. It's very outside of the matrix. The author of this book is a beautiful woman named Kaya Ray, I think is how you pronounce it. And from the age of 4 to 18, she was a slave within sex trafficking. And this has always been something that is very heavy on my heart. I'm sure all of us, right? It is something that I have looked at in the past and learned about in the past, and I know the involvement of the government, and I know the involvement of like Hollywood, like very deep into this. But it was a place I didn't feel like I could go, because I didn't want to go into the rabbit hole. I didn't want to sacrifice my energy or my motherhood for it, and so I didn't go. And I know that that's okay, because what we persist resists. What we push against persists, right? And the way that we help people in those situations is by connecting with the divine and operating from a bird's eye view, coming from the top, not from the ground. And when we push against it, we come from the ground. And so that was a synchronicity for me, that's where she came from. That was very profound to me. And so she channeled a message from the Sophia God. Okay, and the Sophia God is neither masculine or feminine. God is both. Sophia is the feminine aspect of God that came to her to channel a message about the fact that we are sovereign, beautiful beings. We operate from a space of innocence that will never be taken from us. And so I can't really explain the book, like you just have to read it for yourself because it's super powerful. And if you're called to it, you're called to it, and you'll know if you should read it. So what I started reading, I'm going to give you just a few little tidbits within the book that I was like, oh my gosh. What she talks about is Sophia, the Sophia God, says, I am here, years ago I started sprinkling my divinity throughout my name, okay? So she says that her name started to touch the earth again as this divine feminine force has been hidden from humanity for so long, and now is the time. This is why we see so many women activated, and we see so many women carrying torches and lanterns guiding the way, because now is the time for the divine feminine to heal the earth, to take back this old fucking paradigm of being ruled over and competition, like this world, this heaven on earth. That is not how heaven on earth will be attained. It will be through the divine feminine. And so this is an interesting fact. So I told you earlier to remember that in 2007, when I named Sophia Sophia, I thought I was being original. Well, I wasn't. And it's not by any accident. In 2007, the number one name given to babies was Sophia. Okay, that's not an accident, right? So we're sprinkling this Sophia consciousness throughout humanity through naming children, right? In 2008 through 2010, it was the number 2 name. In 2011 through 2018, it was the number 1 name again. And then in 2019 through 2021, it was the number 4 name. And I was really blown away by that. I thought, oh, that's really cool. Like this is a testament to sprinkling the Sophia consciousness throughout. And then I feel like I had another point about that, but I guess I didn't. Okay, so and that is really just, the other thing I wanted to say is that I know that it's outside of the realm of understanding for a lot of people to hear another name for God, but really you can name God whatever you want. For me, I had to walk away from the actual name God for a little while because it was full of judgment for me. I have washed that away now and feel good with the name God, but I called, God, source, spirit, divine. I like to refer to God as the divine. That resonates very deeply with me. Really, you can use any name you want, but understand that we are God. We are all God. You are a divine point of consciousness. You are not separate from God. And Sophia, my Sophia, was the one who introduced me to the concept of gods and goddesses. And that was outside of me. I didn't know, like, she got this book and it was about gods and goddesses. And we started learning about the different gods and goddesses. And, that was like blasphemy when I was a Catholic, right? Like, oh my God, you don't pray to any other God. You pray to Jesus and you pray to God and the Holy Spirit. And it's all the fucking same thing, yo. It is all the same thing. We are God. We are God. You are divine. You are powerful. God made us in their image. I don't want to say his or her. God made us in the image, in the likeness of source, God, consciousness. Like, we are all the same. You have the power within you. You have the power within you. Like, that's the greatest message that I have for you, and that your innocence is divine. It doesn't matter what the fuck has happened to you on this earth plane. It doesn't matter. I'm not devaluing that, because we all have a story, but you are innocence. And the world tries to teach us that we are not innocent, that we should judge ourselves, that we are broken, that we need to be fixed, that we are not worthy. But we are worthy. You are worthy right there, right now, sitting in all of your fucking sin and all of your mistakes. I don't even like the word sin. All of your mistakes and all of your difficulties. It does not define you. Yes, Colleen, we are a spark of God. We are a mirror image of God. And we were brought here to have full decision over how we want to live our lives. And so you can do it from a human perspective, on the ground, looking straight ahead, only seeing your difficulties and only seeing all the shit that's in your way to get to where you want to go. Or you can operate in this life from a higher perspective, with an eagle eye view, where you can actually look around and say, the world is working for my good. The world is working for me, not against me. Every single thing that happens in my life is a beautiful lesson that I can take and grow and build from, and teach my kids how to build from that too. And so, I know that was kind of like roundabout. I honestly, there were so many synchronicities. I still don't really know how to wrap my brain around it and how to adequately express it to you, because it was more profound than I could even give words to. And I left a lot of shit out, but I'll get better at this. And I know that as we tap in more, we are more able to more eloquently allow the flow of the divine through us to deliver the message. And like, that's what I'm here for. Like, this is my soul calling, being on here, speaking to you, pointing towards some stuff that might resonate for you and some other stuff that might trigger you. But you know what? Triggers are good. When your triggers become your treasures, you know that you're growing, right? And so that's my roundabout way to tell you to go get the fucking book. Go get the fucking book. It's mind-blowing. And so the other thing I want to say to you is, please tell me if you're watching the replay. Say hello. Tell me how this made you feel. Tell me if it made any fucking sense at all. I tried. But I want to start a group. I love this book. This book is a living document, living, breathing consciousness that I want to share with the world. I want to share with as many people as possible, and I want to do a living book study on it. So if you are interested, or go check out the book or read a sample and see if it resonates with you, and tell me if you want to be in my group, because I'm going to start a group, because I know that our dialogue about this book is going to enhance both of our journeys and enhance, our ascension journey. So let's do this together. Like, let's grow together. Let's expand together. Let's get excited together. And Yeah, that's what I got. I hope it made a little bit of sense. I love you so much. There's so much more to come. Like, I feel like this spark in me has been like highly, highly activated of recent. And now I just have to like wrap my human brain around it a little bit, you know, like take the brain, take the heart, mash it together and make it all make sense. I will get there. And I promise you there are super fucking cool things to come. But I will keep dropping F-bombs. So if that doesn't resonate with you, I apologize. I get excited and I'm fully expressed with my fucks. So I'm sorry. It's part of me. So I love you so much. Have an awesome night. And I'll be back tomorrow. Tell me if you want to be in my group. Love y'all.